Let me just. Hello, my name is Reese Rhodes, and today I'll be discussing the research method phenomenology and how that can um, be used in the issue that I've been studying this whole semester, which is the consequences of hosting the Olympics. So, basic overview of phenomenology. So, phenomenology is used to describe the lived experiences of individuals. Some methods used when using this is in-depth interviews with open-ended questions, written records, diaries, journals, art, poetry, music. Another one is participants' observation. So that could be small groups. You could, for example, with hosting the Olympics, right? You could have a little focus group just on the volunteers and their experience, or a focus group on small local businesses that receive looking at the economic impact with them. Another example could be the athletes and the tourists, how their experience was. And you can compare that to go even deeper with comparing that to athletes that competed in 2020 and then on 2024. So those are kind of examples of participant observations. And then one thing that really stood out to me with looking at the basic overview of phenomenology is you're really getting a subjective perspective from people. And for me, in using this for my situation, I think that would be really beneficial because for a host city, they need to know um, all the what impacts the people because you're bringing millions of people to your city and highlighting all what makes your city special. And so, not just um, you're focused on everyone else, but you need to focus on your community and see if it really will benefit the long-term and short-term benefits of that. So, really getting the person's perspective will really help with host cities determining if this is what is best for their city and country as a whole. So theories involved with phenomenology. So excuse me if I excuse me butcher these names. So the first theory would be the Hustler's theory, understanding the essence of lived experiences by stripping away biases and preconceptions. Um, a statement or yeah, statement that really stood out that kind of like helped me dig a little deeper would be this reduction reverses reflects the human direction of sight from a straightforward orientation toward objects to an orientation towards consciousness. Um, so that is um, an example that helped me dive deeper in that statement as well is if I am a spectator and I'm looking at a facility, right? The straightforward thing would be I see a stadium. I'm looking at just the broad scope of it, right? But with this theory, you're looking um, more detail oriented, and something, for example, like the five senses, right? So like the five senses kind of help me break it down even more. So you would look at how does this stadium appear to me? What is my conscious experience of its size, shape, and meaning? How does my emotions, memories, and cultural background influence my perception? So all of those things are into your perspective on um, what you're observing. And then Heidegger's theory is how people make meaning in their everyday existence. So this would be kind of the opposite of the theory before this. So phenomenology for him is not descriptive, detached analysis of consciousness. It is a method of access to being. So this seeks to uncover deeper, more profound truths about existence itself and exploring and making sense of the world, our place in it, focusing on the lived subjective experiences of individuals. So, underlining assumptions of phenomenology. So, personal experiences are subjective and vary from person to person. But with that, you get, even though each experience varies from person to person, you get to know more sides and perspectives because it's different from each person. But with that, it is subjective. Um, people can people can only know the world as it is experienced through their consciousness. So each person is, like I said, each person's perspective is different, but because each person's perspective is different, you get to see different sides of a story per se. Researchers can set aside their own preconceptions, biases, and assumptions to engage with participants' experiences. Researchers must do that when using this research method or the information that you receive um, from your the data you'll receive, you might see it a different way. So when you present your information, you will allow your audience to see it from your perspective because you weren't open-minded to others' perspectives. And then people's experiences are situated with a specific context, such as cultural, social, historical, and physical environments. So some strengths of phenomenology, deep, rich insights from experience. When people give their experiences, they really try to explain their experience in a way to where people um, will find a way to connect, but then also see it from a different angle. So you'll get to see different sides of that in a meaningful way. Emphasizes the subject's realities, acknowledges the influence of the context, so seeing the value behind their experience, and then avoids making broad generalizations. So instead of seeing this giant thing, you get to see something really narrowed and specific and has a significant meaning behind it. And then weaknesses are subjective data. So because you're focusing on that one person's perspective, you're only going to get the information from their point of view, and you're not going to see, um, I guess, hardcore facts to support or go against what they're sharing. Difficult for researchers to set aside biases and preconceptions. So a lot of people, like I discussed, if they use this method, they'll have um, a certain mindset or under preconceptions going in, and so when they get the information, they'll contradict what they believe, and then they'll, based off the research that they've received and their own preconceptions, they'll address that and show that to their audience, and so their audience might not see the whole picture because of what the person had in mind going into receiving their data. Um, Limited generalizability. So with that, that's that findings are not easily extended or applied to other groups. So for, let's say, hosting the Olympics, um, it might not be generalized to people living in other cities or other countries. So their information might not be um, the same as other cities and what they've experienced. So it's very specific and detail oriented. And then dependence on participants' communication. So um, who they get their information from, it's going to be very specific, as I've already addressed, but then also it's going to be, you're going to have to rely on their communication and be able to get that communication is important. Um, okay, so using, uh, oh shoot, oh gosh, let me go back. Oops, so sorry, low malfunction. Okay, so how can we use this study for the consequence of hosting the Olympics? So understanding the impact on local communities, getting um, an insight on how it really affects them because millions of people are coming um, to explore the city, the culture, and those that are there. And so you can really get a descriptive insight on local communities that are strictly getting impacted from this. Exploring cultural and social reactions. So, for example, in 2026, Rio, I know they had an issue with distributing the people that lived where they were going to build a facility and moving them. And so, getting to see that, how that cultural, seeing the cultural side of that and how it really affected them. So seeing that, analyzing the economic impact from personal perspectives. So looking at small businesses and small sponsorships and seeing how personally it affected them. And then enhancing the athlete and visitors experience. So getting feedback and the perspective on the visitors and athletes to see what worked, what didn't work, and what host cities can do better moving forward. And then these are my references, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.